I never really liked to play a fool like that, but like deja vu, and I got another clip that a deja vu.
Yeah.
You will forever be my favorite. How's everyone doing tonight? I'm gonna start with a chant, and I just gotta confess, this is the first time in the travels that I've done that I've requested for a song to be played. Because I'm home, baby. And when you home, you take off your shoes. You kick back, and you speak lovingly and honestly to children, right?
Yes.
So let's do a chant. When I say who's got the power, you're going to say,
We power.
and when I say what type of power, you're going to say,
People power.
Alright, but you got to do it like you believe. Who's got the power?
We got the power.
What kind of power?
People's power.
Who's got the power?
We got the power.
What kind of power?
People's power.
Alright, y'all, this is the I want to appreciate each and every one of you who've made it out tonight. I know that there are people who are traveling who are not from the Bronx. We love you too. Because the other boroughs also matter. I want to give a huge shout out to my comrades in the New York City branch. And I don't take that lightly. I don't take my membership, my militancy within the Party for Socialism and Liberation lightly. Because I've been across the country meeting with dedicated, disciplined, militant comrades from our class that have the intelligence, that have the creativity to lead.
Right. Right.
And when I see people like Biden, like Trump, like Kamala, I gotta make sure I pronounce it right for people that feel a certain way when I don't. Kamala, right? When I see them speak and having no sense of reality,
Okay.
and I see my comrades take the mic and speak to reality, I am confident,
Yes.
that we have everything we need as working class people to lead this country. There is nothing of value, substance that these people could ever give us. And Malcolm X always was right.
Yup.
I'm not gonna debate with anybody. Malcolm X was always right. He said, you put them first and they put you last.
That's right.
Yup.
I grew up in the South Bronx,
Woo!
the poorest congressional district in the United States, where 40% of children are living in poverty.
Wow.
40%.
Wow.
Where we have the capacity to work and be the centers to deliver food across the city, and yet we suffer food insecurity.
Yes.
I come from a community that was neglected. Thank you, Nas, for that point.
Okay.
That was neglected. On which the Cross Bronx was created so that people didn't have to go into the South Bronx.
That's right.
Boom. Robert Moses.
That's where I'm from. My mom lives on Kingsbridge and Sedgwick,
Come on.
up the hill on 225th.
Yes.
I grew up in that community, in this community. And it hurts to see the level of negligence of local and federal government towards my people who are creative,
Come on.
who are intelligent,
Yes.
and who produce all the wealth and yet have to beg for crumbs. And as I travel and I meet with comrades who are more competent than anybody in the White House,
Okay.
I also have the opportunity to meet with communities.
Yes.
How many of y'all been to Iowa?
Okay, talk about
If you have your notes on your, you know what I'm saying, little Google situation, Oak Ridge, Iowa. And I went to a project that had the representation of 23 different countries from the Middle East and Africa.
Okay.
And when I walked into that community, I said, this might as well been the South Bronx.
Come on. Come on.
Because the same level of inequality, the same level of suffering, of displacement, of lack of employment, lack of recreation spaces for kids, that is what those people, my people in Iowa, are facing.
Yes, yes.
When you go to South Carolina, and you have workers who are living off their cars, parked on a Walmart parking lot, and tell you, I have a full-time job.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
And at the end of the week, I only have $50 to spare, and my baby is in the back seat. I don't give two, you know what I mean, about Kamala or Biden going into a Cracker Barrel or going into any type of fast food place, because they are not even respecting or considering the reality of working class people who live in those conditions.
That's it.
What kind of convention can you hold in a place like Chicago, where there's a South Side?
Come on. Come on.
Ignoring us is what they do best. And if we like to be ignored, then maybe we could continue to validate them and consent to our exploitation. But I tell you, my mama lives on 225th. I walked 225th over here. And I gotta say, my people got backbone. I don't know about yours, but mine have a backbone. For 30 years, my mom woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning to work for the Department of Education of New York City. 5 o'clock, took a bus, went to Coral City to take care of babies that weren't hers.
Okay.
And she brought those babies home, even if she didn't do that physically. Because I sat there with her and helped her build projects. I went to the 99-cent store and bought notebooks.
Okay.
Because the Department of Education is shit. And so, if you have someone like Mayor Adams, I'm home. You see, this is what I mean. I am home. You have someone like Mayor Adams talking about immigrants being the enemies of the working class, yet he is the one that is cutting the budget for our social programs.
That's right.
He is the one that is pumping in money for these cops to continue to beat the crap out of our children, to continue to surveil our communities.
Yes.
And that is a truth that no Democrat or no Republican will ever say.
That's right.
Because they are profiting from it.
That's right. That's right.
And so I want to believe that we have enough backbone
Yes.
to create what we need to take us where we need to go.
All right.
We have enough backbone. I want to believe that the people of the South Bronx are able to see themselves in the people of Gaza,
Yeah.
in the people in the West Bank.
Yeah.
That we're able to see that the same forces that are slaughtering babies across the seas
All right.
are the same forces that are killing us slowly in this territory. Yes. Because it doesn't matter what they tell us, the lesser of two evils still evil.
All right.
Poison, even if you put a little bit of water in it, it's still poison. You gonna die. It's still it. And so we say, or I say often, and I hope you could say this with me, the more that we consent to their exploitation, say that with me,
The more that we consent to their exploitation,
the further we are from our liberation.
The further we are from our liberation.
What did I say?
The more that we consent to their exploitation, the further we are from our liberation.
Tattoo that shit in your bones. Because that goes for any relationship. And the most toxic relationship that we have ever been is with capitalism.
Yes.
With the economic and political system that tells us that we have the opportunity to go vote for them to exploit us every 4 years, but we don't have enough democracy to guarantee the most basic needs for our people.
Yes.
We don't have enough democracy to be able to have housing rights. We don't have enough democracy to have economic democracy. To get to choose exactly how our tax dollars are being used. I mean, I don't know how many of you have had the power to actually say, I vote that we don't have war, and then they don't go to war.
Never.
Because, you see, there was a study, I don't know how many of you needed Princeton to tell me this. I don't know, but you know, it was Princeton. Boo! Princeton released a study saying that public opinion equates 0 of what dictates the policy development in this country. 0, which means that we don't have an opinion on the policies that are developed.
Yes.
Do you want to guess who has an opinion? Corporations, Wall Street, the military-industrial complex. So when you have people like Mayor Adams talking about immigrants being the enemy, the first thing we should say is that, nah, my dude. I would say something else. But nah, you're the enemy. One, because you respond to Wall Street.
Yes.
You respond to the corporations. And you are militarizing the NYPD.
Right.
Which happens to be one of the biggest gangs across this area.
Yes.
No. We were in crisis before the migrants got here. Actually.
That's right.
Our housing was not guaranteed.
Tell it.
I don't know, a decade ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, ever, actually.
That's right.
So we have to do the task of deconstructing the lies that they continuously feed our people. And we have to do that lovingly. Because our people have been infected by their virus.
Come on.
Which is unfortunate, but it's real. And none of us grew up knowing. We've learned.
Yeah.
And so, in the Bronx right now, I was asking one of the folks that are vending, I stopped, and I asked him, like, what is the biggest issue that you have right now? He mentioned 2 things. The economy and police harassment. And I asked him, what do you think about Canada wanting to, like, take away taxes from tips? He said, that makes no sense. And I asked him why. And he said, why not just give us living wages? Isn't that crazy? You wouldn't think, right? And that's the problem. That we've been taught to think that our people aren't thinking critically. That we can engage in conversations with them about their reality and they know what the answer is. Why can't they just give us living wages? That would solve the problem, actually, if they would give us living wages. And then I had to do what I do. And I said, what do you think about a government that takes away billionaires? And he said, oh, I like that government. I said, okay, take away billionaires. What do you think if, you know, Amazon, for example, would be something that the government have control of? And he said, how would that work? And I said, well, it would be a public utility, and the government would put it to use for the people, and ultimately the workers there, which are millions of workers, would actually have benefits, the rights to unionize, and his eyes just kept on getting bigger, 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 bigger. And he said, what type of government are you talking about? And I said, that's socialism.
Come on.
And then I had to go into a whole conversation about socialism, because you know what has happened in this country with people in high positions politicians in economic and political positions spreading fear around socialism.
That's it.
And he said, that don't sound bad. Actually, I would like that.
Come on.
Our people know instinctively
They do.
that this system does not work
Right.
for them.
That's right. That's right.
That it doesn't matter how many Oprahs, it doesn't matter how many Michael Jordans,
Sure.
it doesn't matter how many LeBrons there are, that doesn't impact their day-to-day life.
That's right.
It gives them false hope of
Yes.
what they could possibly achieve.
Yes.
They know that. And so there's a task for everyone in this space. And I'm sure many of you might have thought, well, she's going to talk about the campaign and vote socialist. But this campaign is about that.
Yeah.
It's about the task that we have at hand,
Come on.
which is the construction of a socialist society.
Yeah.
And just to contextualize, to say the left in Latin America, in the Caribbean, in the global south is to say something different than when we say the left in this country.
Okay.
There's a lot of left. A lot of left. You know, with many different colors. With many different plans for how society should run. Some of them feel that you can reform capitalism. Some of them feel that if you sprinkle a little socialism and you leave the basis of the capitalist one, you're good. I like to make the distinction. I'm not a leftist, I'm a socialist. And if you really want to bring it down to what it is, I'm a communist.
Right.
I like to remind people that there are legendary icons,
Okay.
that people can like take them out of context and say, I love this person, but they never talk about their organization.
That's right.
They never talk about their political
All right.
ideology. Fred Hampton.
Okay.
Fred Hampton, one of the youngest leaders of the Black Panther Party, killed by the Chicago police, was a communist. When you talk about Nina Simone,
All right.
Paul Robeson,
Say something
Yeah.
now. Say something.
W.E.B. Du Bois,
Teach.
people that talking about the black radical tradition and take the radical out of it.
Come on.
They were communists.
Help us.
In the 1930s, in this country, around this neighborhood, there were organizers who belonged to a communist party,
Come on.
who were going out and organizing people who had to sell their labor as black people
Tell it.
to serve white people.
Tell it.
Those were communists organizing around labor rights. The little minimum rights that we have in labor, they ain't the communists.
Come on.
Yes.
The housing rights, black liberation, indigenous liberation. We don't talk about that. We talk about the young lords.
Okay.
They were also infected by the communist virus. And they fought police. And they took over the Lincoln Hospital. And they fought for the liberation and total independence of Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
So let's not watch this down. Let's not watch this down. When Malcolm X was ready
Go ahead.
to come out and be more class-based, when he started talking about class, he got shot.
Okay.
And he was closer
Yes.
to a communist ideology than he had ever been.
Yes.
Martin Luther King,
Yes.
Coretta, I could keep naming.
Oh, okay. Teach.
And Skylar, so the fear of communism
All right.
is not ours to have.
That's right.
The fear and the threatening that the communists present should be for the ruling class.
Yes. Yes.
And yes, let them fear a people's movement. Let them fear a clear
Yes.
and not have us in debates.
Yes.
There's a reason why
Yes.
they exclude us from the mainstream media. And I say us, the socialists.
Yes.
Because once you start talking to the material conditions of people, they get it.
Yes.
Yeah.
They get it.
That's right.
I mean, do you know how much money goes to Israel from New York City?
Oh.
Oh my God. Where's the water? We're about to go right now. We're talking about $200 million from New York City alone.
Coño.
A year.
Crazy.
Did you know that $200 million a year go to Israel, their military, every year from New York City?
Wow.
Coño.
Do you know how many homeless people we got in New York?
Okay.
120,000 that are living in and out of shelters.
Wow.
60,000 who are living on the streets. And they ain't got money for shelters, but they got $200 million
All right.
to send to Israel to kill babies.
Yes.
Yes.
And this is something that hasn't been happening for the last 11 months. This is something that has been happening for the last 76 years.
Okay. Right. Okay.
So if you really want to get down to numbers, we're talking about trillions of dollars.
Yes.
So we need to be clear on who our enemy is.
Yes.
And it is the people that are making decisions for us and who gladly will say, you voted for us.
Right.
You voted for this.
Right.
I want to share this. Someone asked, but aren't third-party spoilers? My response is, I wish. I wish we had the power to spoil the whole thing. But we don't necessarily have access. And as a left, however we want to see it,
Yep.
we don't necessarily have the strength. We should aim to be spoilers. We should aim to bring down the whole capitalist system.
That's right. That's right.
That should be our aim.
Okay.
Because to the capacity that we're able to bring the whole capitalist system down, guess who else gets to breathe? Babies in Palestine, babies in Congo, babies in Sudan, babies in Haiti. You best believe that Puerto Rico can build a force to plant the people in Cuba wouldn't have to suffer blockade. The people in Venezuela wouldn't have to suffer sanctions. We have that task. Electoral politics is a part of that piece. We need to strengthen the confidence of our working class people. That means we need to organize. That means we need to educate. We need to mobilize our
Yes.
people.
Yes.
And that only happens if we have the capacity to speak clearly, boldly, lovingly to our people. We need to be the waking up element,
Come on.
the movement
All right.
element. They use the word or the term woke. I've never liked it. Because you woke, that don't mean you move it. You could be woke sitting in bed. You could be woke sitting on a couch. We're not talking liberalism, we're talking about revolution. We're talking about a movement. We're not talking about progress alone, we're talking about the total reorganization of society.
Come on.
There is no reason why Jeff Bezos, I'm going to give you a number. And then I know we wanted to do a Q&A and Carla's looking at me like you be preaching.
Thank you.
I'm going to give y'all a number. She knows she giggling. Look at her. Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos in 2023 made $7.9 million an hour. Write that down. $7.9 million an hour.
Ladronazo.
Amazon workers get probably a time of 2 years to work in Amazon. Probably. And the reason that they get 2 years is to avoid or create an obstacle for them to organize a union.
Yes, my patience.
Right?
I know that.
Now, these folks are losing life and limb in these warehouses. No benefits, okay? Unable to feed their families.
Yes.
But one man, Jeff Bezos, is stealing, because there's no other way of calling that,
Right.
stealing
Right.
$7.9 million an hour from workers in Amazon.
Yes.
We're saying that during COVID, the worst health pandemic to have been suffered by humanity in 100 years, this man had the audacity to go buy himself a spaceship. That is the putrid society in which we live.
Yes.
Decadent. Lacking of any humanity and morality. When you have people at the DNC that are talking about, I'm not even going to say her name, but she said, we are building the most lethal
Yes.
military force.
Why?
She said that. And people cannot find how they will eat their next meal. And people have to make decisions between whether they eat or feed their children.
Come on.
That is capitalism.
It is.
And what socialism speaks to is a reorganization of society in a way that benefits the majority of people.
Yes.
Why should one man steal $7.9 million an hour when you have millions of workers who are barely making
That's right.
ends meet?
That's right.
And like him, there's 4 others. You could look at the Oxford report, which also tells us that we have the ability as a society to produce the first trillionaire in the next 10 years, but poverty could be eliminated in 230 years.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
We cannot be okay with that.
Yes.
Socialism is a proposal of life.
Right.
Socialism is a proposal of having and giving people what they need to live dignified lives.
All right.
Socialism means that your taxes won't go to bombing babies across the seas.
That's right.
That socialism as a principle, as a strategy, as a value, as a political and economic project is about building solidarity. It's about saying there was harm done by capitalism to the Palestinian people. They deserve reparations.
Yes.
The Palestinian people deserve a return home.
Yes.
That's what that means. It means we've taken enough from the Puerto Ricans. Give them their land back. Let the Puerto Ricans figure out how they will develop their country. And for the Bronx, it means something similar.
All right.
Why should there be money invested in policing, in sending to the Israeli military, in the high-paying salaries of politicians like Richie Torres?
¡Boo!
This is not good.
¡Queroso!
Asqueroso. I'm not even going to translate that. You know. Listen. Socialism to the Bronx means liberation.
Yeah.
It means economic and political democracy. It means actual participation beyond fake-ass representation.
Come on.
That's what it means.
Yes.
And it is our task, everyone in this room, to educate lovingly, respectfully, like we say in New York, our people to understand that the hell that we have been living, the hell that has been imposed on us by this dictatorship of billionaires is not normal. And it doesn't have to be. That we have another path. The Vote Socialist campaign is about that path that we are building. This is not about Claudia and Karina. This is about you and all the communities across this country that have been neglected, whose voices are not being heard, who are not being acknowledged by the capitalist system. In fact, they're considered something that they could do away with whenever they want to, however they want to.
That's right.
That is what this campaign is about. This campaign falls into the larger strategy of building a movement, independent from the Democrats, independent from the Republicans, independent from the ruling class, that is accountable to our people.
That's right.
And so, you don't even gotta mention my name. Mention socialism. Describe what it is. Define what it can do as an option, as the only real option against capitalism.
Yes.
There is no fighting the far right with the center. There is no way to defeat capitalism with a reform version of capitalism.
That's right.
We defeat it with socialism.
Yes.
Are you ready? And we do it because it is our historic responsibility living in the worst of all empires. We do it because we have a responsibility living in the belly of the beast that has choked the life out of humanity and the planet all across this country.
That's right.
And we do it because we believe that people in the Bronx have more in common with the people in Palestine,
Yes.
with the people in Congo,
Yes.
with the people in Nigeria,
Come on.
with the people in Haiti,
Right.
that we do with any of the leaders in this country.
Come on.
And because we are confident that if we produce everything, we can run everything.
Come on.
I'm gonna stop there. I know that there's a Q&A, and I know we're gonna engage in
Woo.
more conversation, but I definitely do want to thank you all, and I can't wait to hear what y'all have to ask.
Yes.